Good evening everybody and welcome back to the League Racing TV YouTube channel for round 1 of season 2 of TTML Division 3. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Commenters. I'll be taking you through Division 3 proceedings as always. Conti will be joining me in the commentary box for the rest of the season, but unfortunately he is unwell today, so you're just stuck with me today, guys. So everyone be nice and supportive in the chat. Keep an eye out for the race. Like to keep an eye out on the comments in the stream today. You guys can keep me company as I am solo commings for the first time in TTML history. So just before we get going, then we're already nearly ready for qualifying for the start of the first round of season 2. Just thought we'd run you through what the calendar is going to be for season 2. So obviously season 1 was only 11 rounds. Season 2 will also be 11 rounds long, but it's the 11 tracks that we did not run in the first season. So we will be starting off with Bahrain today. Next week will then be the Chinese Grand Prix, and then we go to Spain after that. Baku, France, Britain, Belgium, Singapore, Japan, Mexico and Abu Dhabi will round off the 11 tracks that we will be racing this season. And obviously because of there's obviously been a lot of changes in the week that we've had off in terms of the lineup. It's been a very quick turnaround between the two seasons just to keep people fresh and on their toes, and because of that there's been a few changes in how the lineup is. So obviously our top 3 from the season, from the championship last season, which is obviously Mishiro, F1MG who was the eventual champion, and Sejonis, who all pretty much dominated proceedings in Division 3 last season, have been moved up into Division 2, so they're no longer part of Division 3. It means we have some of the returning favourites from Division 3, the Division 3.5 championship that we had last year. A lot of returning people from there, and some new drivers into this division as well, where they've been moved up or down relative on their performances in the last season. So here's what the driver lineups are going to look for the full season. So in Mercedes, Jan has kept his seat at the Mercedes team. He's joined by TTML Steve, who's moving from the Red Bull seat. He was alongside Mashiro last season. In the Ferrari, TTG Alex is in the car alongside Lighty as well, much improved at the second half of the last season. He's looking to build on that momentum that he had in the last few rounds of the championship. Sean has been moved up into the Red Bull seat from the AlphaTauri seat. Captain Chubbs has been moved down from Division 2 and into Division 3. In the McLaren, Jono and Flores. So Jono's kept his seat in the McLaren. Flores has also moved from the AlphaTauri into the McLaren. Isotopic is in the Racing Point alongside TNI Langfell. So TNI Tejonis, his teammate for the majority of last season at Williams, he's now at Racing Point. Isotopic moving from the Alfa Romeo seat. In Alfa Romeo, COS Stumpy and Simply Superman. So Simply Superman and Isotopic have done a seat swap for the season. Harry Nawag and B Morgan will be the two drivers in the Renault car. The Haas car will be filled up by RLT Damon and TNR Steph. The AlphaTauri is Hiro Jokin and Tekken, and then the Williams will be TTG, Kiki and Old School, who's moved from the Renault team to the Williams team. So that is your full driver lineup for this season. Obviously there might be a few changes as the season goes on, but we'll wait and see. We're getting ready then for the first qualifying of the season. We've got 18 minutes ahead of us here at Bahrain, and a track that a lot of people find very difficult to master. There's a lot of corners around here that can really catch you out, noticeably in terms of invalidating your best times. Look out for the exit of turn 2, the exit of turn 4, the exit of turn, I'd say the exit of turn 11, and then run through turn 12 as well. They are all very easy places to invalidate at, so look out for those as the race goes on. Look out for people to try and keep it on the track and make sure that they don't invalidate. Also look out for strategy here as well. This track is a relatively easy one stop, but the alternate strategy around Bahrain can be pretty powerful, so look out for people maybe trying to start on a different set of tyres for this one. But here we go then, out into qualifying. One of the Haas cars is the first out on the track, and it is Nolan, XL Nolan, who I believe is JD Nolan, has had a name change in the off-season. He will be driving the Haas car today, so he's filling in for, I believe, ILRT Damon, who is not here today. So he's in the Haas car. Let's see what he can do. He'll be the first person to do a lap. He's closely followed by the Mercedes of Jan, who's directly behind him on the track. Let's see what XL Nolan then can do in qualifying. Look for qualifying maybe to be, I'd say in the 25s, maybe the 24s, if you can get a very, very clean lap in. We'll have to wait and see how this one unfolds. Looking in the chat as well, Canames has said that Chubbs for a lap 3 to 5 bottle. Have to have a look at that one here. Captain Chubbs, I commentated over him last night actually in the sprint championship. He did show a lot of promising pace, but unfortunately neither race really went his way in the end, and he did crash actually in Bahrain yesterday in the sprint championship. So look out for him to maybe try and recover from the incident he had. But we'll go on board then with Nolan as we ride on for a full lap around the Sakir International Circuit here at Bahrain. Opens the DRS before the start finish line, and now the long run down towards turn 1. The longest straight on the track is the pit straight. First at the DRS zones and into the braking zone for turn 1. Hits the brakes at about 125 metres. Gets the car stopped a little bit too late, a little bit deep into the corner, but recovers it nicely through turns 2 and then through the kink of turn 3 onto the second DRS straight on the track and up towards turn 4. Brake at just after 100 metres here. He does so nicely. Clips a curb on the left-hand side. Misses the apex again a little bit at the entrance of turn 4. Comes through then into the kink of turn 5 and then the 6 and 7. Quite a long chicane here. 27.6 for the first sector. Let's see if Jan can improve on that behind. I think he has done so. Downhill into turn 8, and again Nolan really struggling to slow this car down. Not getting on the brakes early enough and missing apexes. Now into turn 9 and 10. A very difficult braking zone, especially if you have ABS off. It's so easy to lock in inside front. I believe Nolan is running with ABS on by the looks of things. Now down the third of 3 DRS straights down towards turn 11. Probably the more difficult of the DRS straights to make an overtaking spot on, because you're not picking up that much speed and the braking zone is quite short for the corner. Now through the long turn 11 and into turn 12. Don't touch the curb on the inside. It can spin you out if you do touch that. Don't run too wide as well. Don't want to invalidate your time. Through turn 13 again, another corner where you have to brake and turn at the same time, and then down this undulating back straight towards turn 14 in the kink of 15 directly afterwards. We wouldn't really consider that one a corner, but it is marked as a corner on this track. Through 14, hits the apex there nicely. Through the kink of 15, a little bit of a wobble on traction. A little bit of a messy first lap there from Nolan. There's a lot to improve on, but his first banker is a 25.9 on the soft compound tyres. Jan coming up to cross the line in the Mercedes. Let's see where he goes. He goes at 26.2, so 0.3 of a second slower than JD Nolan on that lap. You've got the 2 Renaults next to cross the line. B. Morgan is going to cross the line. Harry Nawal goes second on the 26 flat. B. Morgan does 25.9, so a 10th faster than his teammate into second place. Frederick, though, crosses the line. He does a 25.9, so he goes on to provisional pole. Immediately beaten by OWR Isotopic. He does a 25.7 in the Racing Point. Goes on to provisional pole. His Racing Point teammate Langfell has gone for a medium compound tyre run, and he's done a 26.8 on the medium compound tyres, which is fairly respectable. He's not that far off. He's only 1.1 seconds off pole as it stands. Lightyear goes into P6 in the Ferrari with a 26 flat. Again, qualifying in Division 3 historically has been very, very close, and look at that, 0.003 of a second separating Lightyear and Harry Nawag, 6th and 7th on the road. Let's have a look at some other people that are on laps at the moment. One of the Williams cross line, that's Old School when he goes onto provisional pole now. Harry Nawag lost his front wing meanwhile through turns 2 and 3. Old School onto provisional pole though with a 25.5, so now he has got a 2/10 gap at the front of the field. Here now Steph's gone third in the Haas on a 25.8. We've got some more people coming round to finish their laps as well. I believe the next person to finish a lap should be David. Let's see what he can do in the Mercedes. Actually, there might be someone maybe a little bit further in front of him coming round to finish a lap. We'll have to wait and see. Alex is on the track as well in the Ferrari, setting his first lap, running a little bit out of sequence, so he might get a bit affected by this traffic. I believe that was, I think that might have been Kiki moving out of the way for him in front of there, and Kiki done a nice job to move out of the way for Alex, so he's not held up. The 2 Alpha Romeos, I believe, should be on laps. Actually, no, they're both in the pit lane, sorry, so they're not on laps at the moment. Captain Chubbs is on the lap in the Red Bull. He's coming down that back straight towards the final few corners, but he's picked up front wing damage, so again, Chubbs really struggling around this track, and it's already picked up front wing damage on his first run in qualifying, so we'll see him probably dive into the pit lane at the end of this lap. TTG Sean in the other Red Bull is on a lap on the medium compound tyres. David will be next, though, to complete a lap in the Mercedes. Let's see what he can do. I believe he is filling in tonight as well for Steve, so let's see what David can do when he crosses the line. Comes up to the line and it's only a 27.3, but it's on the medium compound tyres, so we expect him to be at the bottom end of the field. Alex goes in front of him in the Ferrari on a 26.4 on the soft compound tyres. He rounds off the top 10. The slowest of the soft runners apart from Flores at the moment. Hero Jokin will be the next person to start a lap. He's in the Alpha Tauri, so let's see what he can do. But at the moment, provisional pole on at the moment held by Old School, who picked up his pace a lot towards the end of last season, was showing good momentum, couldn't quite get the results he wanted. I'm sure he would have wanted a win last season, and I think maybe at places like Vietnam and Brazil he was probably expecting to get a podium. It didn't quite work out that way for him. Got another comment in the chat. Yeah, go Norwegian boys. They're doing a very good job at the moment. Isotopic is predicted for the win. Isotopic currently second at the moment, and yeah, both Team Norway drivers third and fourth at the moment, doing a very good job for their teams. Here's Hero Jokin then on a lap in the AlphaTauri. Let's see what he can do. Obviously, he's running alongside Tekken, I believe, for the season. Both AlphaTauri drivers. Tekken showed good pace as well yesterday in the Sprint Championship around this track and Australia, so he could be quite competitive as the season goes on. Look out for him. His first lap at 27.1 on the medium. Second fastest medium runner at the moment behind Langfell, and Langfell is proven to be a good qualifier. He's qualified inside the top 5 on a couple of occasions so far in Division 3 last season. Hero Jokin apparently with a purple middle sector. Let's see if he can keep that pace up as the lap goes on. Haven't seen much of Hero Jokin before. I've not really commentated over him, so I don't know what his raw speed is. This will be the first time I've seen him complete a lap on Formula 1, so let's wait and see what he can do when he crosses the line. Simply Superman's just started a lap as well. Hero Jokin actually dives into the pit lane, so he doesn't want to complete that lap time. It looked like it might have been a low 26, which would have put him in the lower reaches of the top 10, but he's already dived into the pit lane, so maybe not wanting to commit to the soft compound tyres. Everyone else on the chat there, let me know who you think is going to be on pole position, who your predictions are for the top 3 in qualifying, who your predictions are for the top 3 in the race. We're right with Simply Superman now, as he's on a lap in the Alfa Romeo. He's had some good qualifying performances in the past as well. 27.5, that's about a tenth and a half faster than what we were on board with I believe that was with Nolan we were on board with. Yes, it was. And he's currently still running in 5th place. So Nolan, even with a few braking errors and missing a lot of apexes on that lap, is still up in the top 5. So there's a lot of pace to be found in that lap time for the Haas driver. Simply Superman now through the second sector. B. Morgan well off the side of the road there. He's on an out lap at the moment. Nolan, I believe, is also on a lap as well in the Haas, so he's the next person to start a run. We'll wait and see what he can do, whether he can improve on P5. Here comes Simply Superman then up the hill through turn 12. Make sure, again, don't touch that curb on the inside. Keeps it nice and close. Has a little bit of a wobble mid-corner. 1 minute 4.3 by the end of the second sector. Looking good so far for Simply Superman, who has, I think, his best qualifying in Division 3 so far has been a 3rd place qualifying. So let's see if he can match that or better that today. Isotopic is someone that he's been very closely matched with in his Division 3 career so far. And Isotopic currently running on the front row, looking for that championship. Simply Superman, though, again, just like Hero Jokin, dives into the pit lane at the end of this lap. And his lap looked like it could have been a high 25. So that would have put him right in the top 5 there, but instead deciding to back out of the lap and not go for it. So that's both drivers now that are on laps currently down without a lap time on the board, who have bailed really from their lap before the lap was completed. So look out for that one as well. That's people maybe going for something a little bit different, not wanting to commit to the soft compound tyres. Here's Nolan, meanwhile, he's nearly 0.4 of a second up by the end of the second sector, so he's finding some good pace on this lap, maybe not making those mistakes into the braking zones like we saw in his first run. He comes now down towards turn 14 and 15. He got this corner quite neatly on his first one. He gets the apex actually even better this time round. Again, a little bit of a wobble, but not as bad this time round. So where can he go? Can he go onto provisional pole position? He can, by 0.5 of a second, nearly exactly 0.5. XL Nolan goes onto provisional pole position in the Haas car ahead of Old School. Old School, though, is on a lap to try and improve. One of the Renaults coming up to the line. I believe that is Harry Nawag, I think, coming up to the line. You actually quite see it. Someone's just started a lap. It was Harry Nawag, but he's actually just starting another run. So he's currently running in the top 10, as is his Renault teammate B. Morgan. We've got an AlphaTauri coming to the line. That's Tekken to start his first run on the soft compound tyres. One of the McLarens coming to the line now as well. Is that TNR Frederick? No, it is not. It's Flores currently running in 15th. He's ready to start another lap. One of the other Haas cars as well, Steph, coming up to start his second run in qualifying. So we've got a Mercedes now coming to the line, and that is Jan, who's on his second run. Let's see where he can improve from. P9 currently on the grid. He was battling for that coveted P4 position in the championship last season, just missed out on it. He goes into P4 with his second run, a near 0.5 second improvement on his second run. So a good lap time there from Jan. He goes into P4. Kiki, meanwhile, has gone up into 3rd, and B. Morgan has gone up into 2nd. So completely missed that. Look at the gap between the top 3. The top 3 separated by 0.009 of a second. Once again, Division 3 incredibly close in qualifying. Captain Chubbs, meanwhile, goes up into P11, and Stumpy now on his first run in qualifying takes provisional pole position with a 25.4, so he goes 0.5 clear of Nolan's time. So the top 4, actually the top 5 really, currently separated by less than 1/10 of a second. Good laps though from Stumpy, Nolan. As I say that though, Old School, what a lap from Old School. Look at that, 0.4 of a second clear of the rest of the field on his second run. A brilliant time from the Williams man, and he now goes on to provisional pole, and that is going to be a big task for anyone to try and beat that lap time. He's so far clear now after that second run. Still 7 minutes to go in qualifying, but we'll have to wait and see whether he can pull this one off. Just wait and see what anyone else can do. Can anyone get close to that? Isotopic hasn't improved on his run in the Racing Point. Langfell's in P7 in the other Racing Point at the moment. Frederick has crossed the line. He's not improved as it seems. He's still currently running in 8th. Jan has back down to 9th after improving up to 4th. Back down to 9th already, so he's dropped some places after that run. TNR Steph coming up to the line. Where can he go? He goes P6, so he goes 3 places behind his Haas teammate, back into that 6th place position, and he's another one now within 1/10 of that battle for 2nd place. He's 0.005 of a second slower than Kiki, and he's currently 3 places behind his teammate, but only 0.14 of a second slower. Just goes to show how close this field is. Got more people diving into the pit lane. One of the AlphaTauri drivers coming up to the line. That should be Hero Jokin, I think, to finish his first proper lap in qualifying, but again he slows down before the line. Look at that, he's not committing to the soft compound tyres. I think he wants to try and set a time on the mediums and go for that alternate strategy, so he doesn't want to be at the front of the field. Simply Superman, I wonder if he'll do the same. He's made a bit of an error though in the first sector. 27.9 is about 0.4 slower than he previously did on his first run, so Simply Superman has made an error on this lap, so it wouldn't be that competitive anyway. More people coming round the final corner. We'll wait and see who else is going to be able to complete a lap. We've got one of the Williams drivers coming into the pit lane, and we've got one of the Renaults coming around. That's Harry Nawag. He's going to come into the pit lane as well by the looks of things. So everyone now coming into the pit lane, getting ready for their final run in qualifying. So we just wait to see what Simply Superman can do. More people still yet to improve. David hasn't improved on his medium run as of yet, and neither has Sean. He's currently running in 17th place. They're still yet to go onto the soft compound tyres and set a competitive time. So I have to wait and see for what they can do once they get those soft compound tyres on. Here comes Simply Superman then to the end of his lap. Does he, for the second time in qualifying, decide to dive into the pit lane, or does he complete this lap? Let's wait and see. He's going to complete the lap. Let's see what the time is. But again, just like we saw from Hero Jokin, Simply Superman backs off before the line. So it's only a 26.5, even with an error in the first sectors. So, and a slowdown right before the end. Simply Superman has got a lot more pace in that car than 16th place. I think if he set a time on the softs, he could be right in that battle for the top 5. So he's definitely thinking that the alternate strategy is far more powerful here. So, and I think that's fair. That's a fair assumption to make. It is pretty powerful, but we have a full grid here as Hero Jokin's actually retired from the session completely. So he's decided, he's actually crashed, I think, coming towards turn 14 and 15, unfortunately. So Hero Jokin, who maybe wanted to set a time on the mediums and get a bit further up the field, has now not given himself the opportunity to do that. So Hero Jokin backing off, going for those later laps in the session, has meant that he will start 20th out of 20 drivers, last on the grid. What a disaster for him. Simply Superman as well, just touching on that before we obviously cut away for Hero Jokin's retirement. But Simply Superman currently down in 16th place. If he does want to start on the mediums, he's going to have to make a lot of overtaking. He's got to do a lot of overtaking in this race to get this one done. That's one thing he's got to look out for. Have to wait and see. Whether he can pull that one off, or whether he does decide to go for a proper soft tyre run at the end of the session. We'll wait and see. XL Nolan then once again is going to be the first person to start a run. He'll be the first person to start his final run. Currently third on the grid. Nolan last season at the end of Division 3 Championship, he got drafted into that racing point seat. He really struggled to find some raw pace, but all of a sudden put him in the Haas car, give him a week's break, and Nolan is right at the front of the field. He seems to be fitting into this car nicely, so let's see if he can improve on third place. This is a massive improvement on the pace he was showing this time last season in Division 3. Comes through turns 1 and 2, a little bit wide on the exit at turn 1, doesn't get the cleanest run through turn 2, but it seems okay enough as it now comes down the DRS straight towards turn 4, hits the brakes nicely, gets the apex this time round, doesn't run too wide on the exit of the corner as well. Doesn't use all of the track though. I've noticed that from Nolan, struggling a little bit to use all the track, and he's slightly down on his personal best first sector, but it's barely by anything. So there's still some time in this lap if he can improve. Even if he does improve by only half a tenth of a second, that at least gains him another place on the grid and puts him on the front row. So let's see whether he can get ahead of Stumpy at the moment. Stumpy in his first Division 3 race as well, doing a good job up in second place. Here comes Nolan then round turn 10 and then down the second DRS straight towards turn 11. Let's see what his middle sector time is going to be like by the time he comes out of turn 12. We've got more people now starting their final runs. Captain Chubbs in the Red Bull on his final run, currently in 15th place. We've got one of the Mercedes has just left the pit lane. That will be Jan, currently running in 10th place. Purple middle sector from Nolan. He's now nearly a 10th up on his personal best, so this will put him on the front row, but it's got to be a mega final sector for him to even come close to challenging Old School at the moment, who's now out onto the track for his final run in qualifying. Here comes Nolan then round the final corner, keeps it nice and neat, doesn't wobble on the exit of the corner, so that's surely an improvement in the final sector for Nolan. He comes up to the line and he does improve by nearly 0.2 of a second and puts himself on the front row, but still nearly 0.3 of a second slower than Old School at the moment. No one quite able to get close enough to the Williams man just yet, but Nolan definitely with his best qualifying so far in Division 3, but that is his qualifying over. He won't get another run in, so now he just has to sit and wait for everyone else to do their runs. Harry Nawag in the Renault, I believe, has started a lap by the looks of things. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him and his teammate, but his teammate B Morgan moves out of the way nicely, so Harry Nawag gets a clean run now. Currently down in 13th place, but he's not far off really getting a lot of places. He's on a 26 flat, gaining 0.3 of a second, and he's into the top 10, so doesn't have to find too much pace around here, and there are a lot of areas where you can pick up time, especially in the traction zones if you absolutely nail them. Here we go then, coming down towards turn 11, hits the brace nicely, just misses the apex ever so slightly. David is retired from the session coming out of turn 3, so he's not going to be improving on 14th on the grid, unfortunately. That's the best he can do with a 26.1, so let's wait and see whether he can improve in the race. Captain Chubb seemingly didn't get the best of runs on his final run either, down to 16th place on the grid and not able to improve on that 26.2, so not the best start to the season for Red Bull, who were fighting for that manufacturers last season. Here comes Harry Nawag then round the final 2 corners, coming up to the line. Can he improve on 13th place? Can he get near to his teammate maybe? Coming up to the line, it's going to be It's not an improvement, so he's going for another run. I actually missed that there. I didn't realise he backed off. He's gone for another run on the same set of tyres, so he's going to go again for this lap. His teammate crosses the line directly behind him as well. Lighty has invalidated his run, so he's going to be going for another run on the same set of tyres. Jan slightly up in the first sector. 27.7 though, not the most competitive of first sectors. One of the McLarens off the road there to the side of the track. I believe that will be Flores, but he's on an outlap at the moment, so that's not too much of a worry for him. That is Steph that's just come across the line as well to start his final run in qualifying. Lighty coming across the line as well to start his final run. The Racing Points now will be the next cars across the line. Then it's an Alpha Tauri to cross the line to start their final run. That'll be Tekken, currently running in 11th place. Then it's another Alfa Romeo behind him. That will be simply Superman, I believe, to start his final run. And then after that, Jan will be the next person to do a time in the session. So let's wait and see what he can do. Touch the curb ever so slightly through 12 and is only slightly up on his time at the moment. He's not finding a lot of pace. Currently on a 25.7. Let's see if he can improve in the final sector. A 10th of a second improvement will gain him 2 places at the moment. So let's see if he can pull it off. Nice and neat through the final corner. Gets it nice on the traction. Again, a little bit of a wobble. People seemingly struggling with traction coming out of turn 14 and up to the line. Jan, does he improve? He does. He goes up 1 place. He goes ahead of TNR Frederick, but misses out on Langfell by 200ths of a second. Langfell as well is on a lap at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see as Old School crosses the line on his final run and improves by another 10th of a second to go into the 24s. I said that Paul might be in the 24s. It was a long shot, but Old School's pulled it off. Can anyone get closer? B. Morgan goes third. Harry Nawag hasn't validated his final run, so he's not going to improve on 13th. Frederick's crossed the line and only 10th. Frederick couldn't improve on his run. Stumpy's got back up into second place with the 25.1, so he was able to get about 2 tenths behind Old School. He's the closest so far. Can anyone else improve? If there are more people cross the line. TTG Sean goes 14th. Alex only 16th in the Ferrari. One of the Haas cars. That's Steph. He crosses the line, goes third place. At the moment, it's an all-Haas second road. Steph gets ahead of Nolan at the end of qualifying. It seemed Nolan had the advantage. Didn't quite pull it off in the end. Isotopic only 7th in the end in qualifying. Where's Langfell? Langfell coming up to the line. Can he improve on 8th place? He goes 6th, so he goes ahead of his teammate and ahead of Kiki as well. The Alpha Tauri crosses the line. That was Tekken. He doesn't improve on 12th. And we had our last person across the line. I didn't quite see who that was. Everyone coming across the line at the end very quickly, but what a dominant display in qualifying from Old School. Stumpy, the only one in the end able to get close to Old School in qualifying. But here we go then. Here is your final order for the first round of the season. Old School takes pole position on the 24.9. 2 and a bit tenths clear of Stumpy in second place. Let's see if anyone can get close to Old School in the race as well. Steph third with his best qualifying in Division 3. Nolan with his best qualifying in Division 3 as well in 4th. What an improvement in pace since last season. B. Morgan 5th ahead of Langfell 6th. Kiki 7th. Isotopic 8th. Jan 9th. Frederick rounds off the top 10. Lighty the first person outside the top 10 in 11th. Simply Superman only 12th in the end in the Alfa Romeo. Not the best qualifying from him. Tekken 13th ahead of Harry Nawag, Sean, David, Alex, Captain Chubbs, Flores and Hero Jokin, who didn't really set a proper time in that session all outside of the top 10, but they have the ability to start on a fresh set of medium or hard compound tyres depending on what they want to go on. So we'll have to wait and see what drivers decide to do in that one. Just having a look as well, Tekken's just commented in the stream saying he had a little bit of power problems in that one, but he said he wanted to be outside the top 10 anyway, so it seemingly he wanted to go for that alternate strategy, and a lot of people pulling that off as well. People like Simply Superman, people like we saw from I believe Hero Jokin as well, wanting to start maybe on that alternate strategy because it seems to be the better strategy around this track. So we'll wait and see what people outside the top 10 are going to do in terms of tyres, but I imagine that a lot of people outside the top 10 will start on a set of hard or medium compound tyres. Here we go then, everyone readying up then for the start of the race. Let us know, guys, what you think the order is going to be by the end of this race. Who do you think is going to win? What are your predictions? Who are you supporting tonight? Let us know what you think it's going to be. What do you think will get any safety cars in this race? Do you think it'll be a clean race? What do you think is going to happen? Make any bold predictions. Any bold predictions you have, put them in the chat. Let us know. It's been a good start to qualifying. Once again, Division 3 showing just how close this field is. It's good to see as well. Back up to 20 drivers in this division. We struggled a little bit with attendance towards the end of the Division 3 season last time round, but I think that was partly because of the game cycle, but also as well just the dominance that we had from the top 3 in the championship last season. It was those top 3 on the podium, and it was a rare occasion to see anyone else on there. So I think that put a few people off in the end of getting the best result they could have got put a few people off here really turning up to the races, but now the Division 3 field looks even closer than it was. And Old School the first person to capitalise on the changes in the divisions. So Old School on pole position. Let's see what he can do then. Let's see at the strategies then outside the top 10. So nobody outside the top 10 has decided to go for a soft compound tyre. Lighty and Tekken, 11th and 13th, have gone for the hards. That's a bold strategy. They're going to be hoping to hold on to their positions and that the soft runners really struggle for speed at the start. And then the other hard runner is Hero Joking, currently in 20th on the grid. It's only up for him, so he can only gain places from there. And obviously we run a different points format in the Division 3 Championship. So obviously you want to try and get to the end of the race. That is the main goal. And then if you do get to the end of the race, it's more likely than not you're going to pick up points in this one. So going for that alternate strategy, giving him the best opportunity to run out of sync and go for something a little bit different. And that's the best way to gain places. You can't run the same strategy as everybody in front of you, otherwise you won't really gain places unless you're miles faster than them. So fair enough from Joking. Apart from those three though, everyone else, so Simply Superman and then Harry Noir all the way down to Flores, 14th to 19th, have gone for the medium compound tyres. So they're looking for maybe a medium hard strategy, maybe it's a soft hard strategy for the top 10 and a hard soft strategy for those starting on the hard compound tyres. Let us know as well in the chat, what do you think the best strategy is going to be for this race? Do you think those starting inside the top 10 on the softs have gone for the better strategy? Do you think it was smarter to go for a set of harder compound tyres for the start? I think if I was in this race, I probably wouldn't have qualified inside the top 10 anyway, just based on how competitive this field is, but I think I would have wanted to go for the alternate strategy anyway, just because the soft tyres here don't really last much longer than 8 laps before, well, you get to about lap 5 and they start to drop their pace. 8 laps into the race, and that's where they really start to punch a territory as well with qualifying as well. A few laps in qualifying, especially those that did 2 laps on their set of softs, they're really going to struggle towards the end of their stint, and that is where the hard and the medium runners will come into effect. Everyone there lining up on the grid. Old School on pole position for the first time in Division 3. Stumpy in second place on the front row in his first Division 3 race, and it's an all-Haas second row of the grid with Steph third and Nolan fourth. B Morgan rounds off the top 5 in the Renault. B Morgan, I know, has raced a lot with Old School in the past, so those two know how they know how each other race, and that'll be a good battle to watch if they're close to each other on track. See then as we get ready for the start of the first round of Season 2 of Division 3. Let's wait and see who's going to get the best start down towards Turn 1. Will it be Old School? Will it be Stumpy in towards Turn 1? Lights are out relatively quickly and away they go, and it actually looks like Stumpy's got the better of the 2 starts at the front. Old School had a little bit of wheel spin and Stumpy is already passed, I think, down towards Turn 1. He'll have the inside line. One of the racing points is I made an incredible start in the background. I think that's Langfell, who's worked his way up the field massively at the start, but Stumpy does get the move done on Old School, so a dominant display in qualifying. Old School misses out at the start, a little bit too much wheel spin, and Stumpy capitalises up into the race feed. Langfell, what a start from 6th on the grid up to 3rd. He launched off the line and passed everyone before Turn 1. B Morgan's up to 4th. The Haskars have had a dreadful start from 3rd and 4th down to 5th and 7th. We've got a yellow flag at the back of the field. That's Captain Chubbs who's spun, and I think TTG Alex might have been involved in that one as well. He's dropped off the back of the field as well, so Chubbs has already spun on the first lap coming out of Turn 4. I think he might have spun again in trying to recover that one, but coming down towards Turn 10 in the middle part of the lap, Stumpy leads. Old School 2nd, Langfell 3rd, B Morgan 4th, Steph down to 5th, Kiki in 6th, Nolan down 7th and 4th on the grid. What a shame for him. Jan upper place into 8th, Isotopic 9th, Fred rounds off the top 10. Simply Superman running in 11th. Lighty on those hard compound tyres has dropped 2 places off the start. Sean once again with the traditional very good start, but he's side by side with Lighty as Lighty tries to work his way back through. Little bit of wheel banging, but Lighty gets back ahead of Sean up through Turn 12, but hits the curb, I think, and that's come into contact with Sean. All people going off to avoid. I think they both get away with no damage, but that's dropped them now down to 17th and 18th. What a shame for them, and that has really split the field up behind Simply Superman. Harry Noir 2.5 seconds off the leading 11 drivers, but at the end of lap 1, fairly clean apart from that little contact there. It's Stumpy that leads the way though. Old School running in 2nd place. 3rd place goes the way of Langfell. We've got a little bit of a timing glitch on my end, so that will sort out by the time we get to the end of Sector 1. Langfell, though, looking very racy at the start of this one, and this is another Achilles heel from Old School. We've seen this a couple times in the past. Good qualifying, but the starts aren't really his strong point, so let's see if he can work his way back into the lead. Stumpy, though, holds the lead for the time being. More contact in the background, I think, there for Sean. I think he came into contact possibly with Lighty for a 2nd time into Turn 1, so we'll see if he can keep that one on the road and not pick up any damage, but it is still Isotopic that leads. Old School currently running in 2nd. No one has really made a gap as of yet. Everyone is sticking within DRS range, so wait and see if anyone can form a gap. It does look like B Morgan is trying to get up to the back of Langfell after that start that the Racing Point man pulled off. trying to get back up into, well, he's currently running in 4th, trying to get up into 3rd place. We've got another yellow flag. That is Flores in the McLaren that's gone off the road. He's spun coming out of turn 7 and towards turn 8, so he's fallen foul, possibly of that curb on the exit of the corner, and that means that he's going to be dropping right to the back of the field. What a shame for him. David has already pitted in the Mercedes, so he's down to 20th place, and I think Captain Chubbs has pitted as well. They're both on the hard compound tyres, hoping maybe for a safety car that will bring them back into the game later on. We'll have to wait and see, but we now run towards the end of the second lap, and it does look like Stumpy is now coming under a little bit of pressure from Old School. Old School currently running in 2nd place, doing a pretty good job at the moment of keeping Stumpy honest. He's not swarming all over the back of him, but we haven't got DRS as of yet, and we're now coming on to lap 3, and that is where DRS is now enabled. Stumpy fastest up of the race at 30.0. Let's see if anyone can beat that as the lap goes on. I think everyone at the moment is staying as they are. Langfell actually currently P3, looking pretty racy, trying to get past Old School into turn 1. It looks like he's got a fast car in a straight line, but wasn't quite able to get the move done on the Williams man. He's dropping B Morgan ever so slightly. Steph trying to recover from that poor start, currently in 5th, Kiki 6th, Nolan in 7th, Jan coming a little bit detached in 8th place, but he's still just within DRS range. Frederick 9th, he's got ahead of Isotopic and all that. Isotopic runs wide as well in turn 4. That might leave him vulnerable to Simply Superman, but Simply Superman not quite close enough. And I tell you what, Simply Superman making hay while the sun shines on these medium tyres is doing a very, very good job of holding on to the back of the soft runners at the moment, so look out for him later on. Harry Welk and Sean as well, both on the medium compound tyres, not too far back, and Sean has recovered very well from that contact with Lighty. He's worked his way back past Hero Jokin and Lighty and Tekken as well to work his way back up into 13th place. So he's doing a good job of recovering all over the back of the Renault man of Harry Noir, trying to get back up into 12th place. Let's see if he can get that move done. He won't be close enough though, down towards turn 11 to get that move done. Right back with the leaders then as we come through lap 3. Old School still stuck right on the back of Stumpy, and here's another thing about Bahrain, guys. The amount of DRS lanes that we have and the long straights that this track has means that we will see a few DRS trains forming, and look at all the soft runners all within DRS range of each other. That shows that the field spread in terms of pace is incredibly close, and that just goes to show that anyone really could win this race. So we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. We now come on to lap 4 of this race. Stumpy has extended his advantage by about a 10th or so, not by a lot, but it's doing enough at the moment. Old School not close enough to make a move into turn 1, using a bit of his ERS. Langfell's used a lot of his ERS trying to close in. Stumpy actually out of the top 3 is the one with the most ERS, which shows that while in the lead only by about half a second, he's looking pretty comfortable at the moment, saving ERS. Also with about 20% less, and Langfell with about 40% less than our race leader at the moment. B Morgan in 4th as well, doing good on ERS management as well. We've got more movement in the background. That's Alex and Tekken, I think, running side by side in the background. Tekken getting ahead of Alex, both Avatars and both Ferraris fighting just like they do in real life. That was Alex already going back down the inside of Tekken in towards turn 4, and he'll get the move done. He'll get up into 16th place. Alex, after a tumultuous first lap, working his way back through the field, trying to gain places, get back into that battle for the top 10 at the moment. Currently running 16th, 1 place behind his teammate, has a bit of a lock up into turn 8, but gets away with it. Tekken not close enough to capitalise, and at the moment the hard compound tyres do not look strong here. Hero Jokin can't close it on Harry Noir. Harry Noir's been overtaken by Sean actually, so Sean continues his charge back through the field, doing a very good job. Up now into 12th place on those medium compound tyres. He's worked his way about 4 places back up from where he spun to after that contact with Lighty. So let's see if maybe he can close down on Simply Superman. He has used up pretty much all of his DRS though in that attack. Isotopic is the first person inside the top 10 to lose DRS range to another soft runner, so he's seemingly struggling on these soft compound tyres, and now he's got Simply Superman breathing down his neck. Back to the battle for the race lead. B Morgan looking pretty close in 4th place, but again, just that DRS train means that no one can really make a move unless anyone makes a mistake. So B Morgan stays in 4th. Jan in the background looking very racy, looking to the inside of Nolan. He's caught back up to the back of Nolan and has dropped Frederick ever so slightly, but Jan can't get the move done. I think maybe moving to the inside to try and force Nolan into a mistake, but that isn't quite able to pull that one off. Once again, Lighty and Hero Jokin fighting in the background to be the lead of the hard runners, and Lighty has worked his way past Hero Jokin now and up into 14th place, so he's now trying to work his way back through. But look at Hero Jokin using a lot of ERS to get back down the inside towards turn 4. Can he get that one stopped? He can. So Hero Jokin waited patiently, didn't decide to fight the move at turn 1 and going back down towards turn 4. Good racecraft there from Hero Jokin, as Tekken is our first person to pick up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Currently running on lap 5 then. Stumpy still leads the way. Second, it's definitely not a comfortable lead by any stretch of the way. Look at all of the field really behind him, all the way down to Frederick and 9th, all within half a second of each other. It's so close. I think Frederick honestly could come in at the end of this lap and undercut cars in front of him with the pace that he could have. So that's crazy to think how close this field is. Isotopic, the only soft runner really struggling at the moment, which is bizarre to see. The man who had so many good races last season not able to keep the pace. And Harry Nawag, meanwhile, has dropped the car through turn 12. He's the first person to properly fall foul of that caller, but I think Harry Nawag has got away with no damage. Amazingly, I think he was on the in the wall on the inside there towards turn 13, but he somehow gets away with no damage, so he can continue on, but he now drops down to 17th. So the two Renault drivers really having opposite days at the moment. B Morgan 4th, Harry Nawag dropping down to 17th. We've got a move in the background there. That's simply Superman trying to get down the inside of Isotopic and trying to close back into the soft runners in front of Isotopic, but he can't quite get the move done. Can he get the move done? Maybe down towards turn 4, but he's not on his ERS. He's going to stick him behind. Meanwhile, Lighty and Hero Joking once again going side by side. Lighty gets ahead towards turn 1, but here comes Hero Joking again down towards turn 4, but this time round he's not close enough. So Lighty looks like he's finally got that move done on the AlphaTauri man, and he is now up into 13th place. He's got Sean ahead of him by about 3 seconds. Bit of a gap to close in, and after that contact with Sean earlier on, he has become a bit detached from that battle with Isotopic and Simply Superman, so that will compromise him as the race goes on. On to lap 6 of this race. Still, the leaders are all incredibly close to each other. Jan looks to be the next person maybe to start struggling on the soft compound tyre. They can't quite keep with Nolan at this point in the race. Doing a good job of holding Frederick off, but he's just not quite got the same pace of everyone else in front of him. So I wonder whether maybe we'll see Isotopic or Jan into the pit lane. A yellow flag in sector 2. That is Flores, who I think spun again, and Frederick in the other McLaren's gone completely off the road, coming out of turn 12. Maybe hit that curb, overcorrected, and has ended up in the barrier on the outside. I wonder, he did hit the tyre barrier, but amazingly for Frederick, he's not picked up any damage either. So I don't know how on earth Frederick got away with that one, but he's not picked up any damage as we now come down the pit straight then for the 7th time in this race. And Jan, yeah, I predicted correctly, Jan with Frederick's mistake has decided to come into the pit lane, so he's the first person to commit to a pit stop. Let's see what he goes for. He goes for the medium compound tyres, so he's not gone for a set of hards. That is a tall order for Jan to get those to the end of the race. I wonder whether Jan's gone for a 2-stop here. Isotopic's gone for the hard, so he's definitely committing to a 1-stop strategy. Jan's committed, I think, to the 2-stop, so he's hoping that he's got a lot of pace. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for the lead. Stumpy and Old School are side by side running down towards turn 6, but Stumpy just holds on to the lead. Old School's using a lot of his ERS at the moment. He's down to absolutely none. He's looking to try and attack B Morgan in the background as well, trying to attack down the inside of Langfeld. It's all really blown out of proportion really here as we now come towards the end of this stint. They're all fighting for position, trying to be the first person in the queue by the end of this stint, and Langfeld really cuts the inside of turn 10 there, uses a lot of curb that affects his run coming out of the corner. Can B Morgan get a run on him down towards turn 11? I don't think it's going to be close enough. The straight isn't long enough. Stumpy weaving as well at the front of the queue. Stumpy really starting to struggle on these soft compound tyres. This could massively help out Jan and maybe Isotopic if all these guys continue to battle. Who's going to be coming into the pits though at the end of this lap? The only two people that really can't pit at the end of this lap is if their teammates pit, will be Nolan and Kiki. They are running behind their teammates at the moment, so I have to wait and see what they do. Old School though completely out of ERS here. He's got nothing in attack and nothing in defense if Langfeld gets close, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. In comes Stumpy, then in comes Old School, here comes Langfeld. B Morgan stays out, so B Morgan in the Renault decides to continue on. Kiki continues on, and so does Nolan. As I said, they can't come into the pit lane because their teammates are in, so those 3 drivers stay out. Simply Superman's now up into 4th on those mediums, a bit detached, 4 seconds back, but he's now got clean air to make those medium tyres work, and maybe he can go onto the hards a little bit later on and make those last better to the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. But B Morgan now takes the lead of the race. Kiki running in 2nd and Nolan in 3rd. Where does Jan come out relative to everyone around him? Everyone in the pit lane came onto the hard tyres apart from our net race leader Stumpy. Amazingly, Stumpy, our net race leader, who was looking pretty comfortable, has gone for the medium, so he's committing to a 2-stop strategy here unless he can get those mediums to the end, which I highly doubt he'll be able to. Stumpy looking to try and build a gap and then come through the field at the end of the race. That is a tall order for Stumpy to do. We've already seen in the opening 7 laps of this race how difficult it is to make a manoeuvre stick here, especially if everyone is so close together, and Stumpy has given himself a really tall order here. He's got to pull out a massive gap on those drivers behind, just because as well the pit stop loss here is quite massive. The pit straight is long and fast, and the pit lane is very slow, so you can lose about 23-24 seconds with one pit stop here. So Stumpy's given himself a massively tall order. Langfeld's jumped Old School in all those pit stops, and look at Jan. Jan has jumped Steph and Frederick. Obviously Frederick went off the road, he's jumped Steph, so at the moment he should be ahead of Kiki and Nolan when they come into the pit lane, and maybe B Morgan. So that's a net 4 place gain for Jan on those medium tyres as well though, so he's going to have to make another pit stop in this race. So let's see if he can do the same as Stumpy and pull away. Stumpy looking very fast on the opening lap on these tyres, has already pulled about 4 tenths on Langfeld on this lap alone, but at the moment that's still not quite enough for this strategy to work unless there's a later safety car in this one. Our soft runners are into the pit lane. Kiki, Nolan and B Morgan all into the pit lane. What does they go for? I think they're all going for the hard compound tyres. Yes, they are. All three of them committing to the one stop on the hards. They stayed out an extra lap. Where does that put them in the queue of cars? We'll see where B Morgan comes out. He was running in a net P4. There's a bit of a battle going on behind there. Old School trying to work his way back past Langfeld, trying to work his way down towards the inside, and B Morgan, by staying out another lap, has actually jumped the lot of them. But look at Langfeld round the outside. Oh, there's contact with B Morgan. B Morgan slides the car. I don't know if he's spun. He has fully spun. What a shame for B Morgan. Oh my word, I thought he was going to collect Frederick there, but he just about gets away with it. B Morgan though, side by side contact with Langfeld coming out of turns 2 and 3. B Morgan seemingly just understeered into the side of that racing point, and B Morgan, for what was a net possible race lead, because Stumpy's on that different strategy, he's now dropped well down the field behind Isotopic. What a shame for B Morgan. But Langfeld now ahead of Jan. Jan's got ahead of Old School here, so Old School not able to make that overtake stick on Langfeld, and that means that Jan's been able to capitalise on that one. Steph in behind as well as Kiki and Nolan. They're on a lap fresher tyres, and they're directly behind this. Harry Noir in 14th, he's out of sync. He hasn't made a pit stop as Jan now works his way past Langfeld into turn 11. He's up another place into 8th place. All this battling is allowing Stumpy to pull away even more as Captain Chubbs has retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. Jan up into 8th place now. He's ahead of Langfeld, but there's now a 4-second gap to Stumpy in front, who has now caught another queue of cars. He's caught Alex and Tekken, who are battling themselves, so he might get a little bit held up here. We'll have to wait and see. Jan though up into 8th place on the road. That's a net 2nd place, but obviously Stumpy and Jan still yet to make another pit stop in this race. They won't be able to take their speed into the end. Of 29.9 from Stumpy. What a lap, and those hard tyres do look to be struggling for pace at the moment. Sean and Lighty again side by side on track. Those hard tyres now coming alive for Lighty and Hero Joking. They've both closed in on Sean, and they're trying to get a move done down towards turn 4. Lighty down the inside, incredibly late on the brakes, passes Sean into turn 4, and this time it's a clean move for these two. The hard tyres now coming into play for Lighty, up into 2nd place. So let's see now if he can close in on Simply Superman, who's like a further 6.6 seconds up the road. Remember, don't count him out of this race. He was at the back of that soft tyre shod kind of queue of cars, so look out for him to play a factor in this one later on. He'll be on fresher tyres than everyone around him. As all Tekken runs wide there, and Stumpy's going to try and get a move done towards turn 9 and 10, but it's not an overtaking spot. It's probably going to have to wait for the exit of the corner. He nearly runs at the back of him in the braking zone. Tekken really struggling on those tyres. And here comes something then down towards turn 11. Can he get a move done on the Alpha Tower? He's going to go to the outside line. That's a brave move, going all the way around the outside, as David's also retired in the pit lane. But Stumpy's going to drive clean around the outside to take on those fresh tyres, and he's made his way up into 5th place. So Stumpy working his way through the traffic nicely, doing a good job. He's up now into 5th place. Obviously Alex and Tekken still yet to pit, and they are now being caught by that whole gaggle of cars behind that stretches from Jan in 8th all the way down, really, I would say, to Isotopic in 15th. There's a bit of a gap between Nolan and Frederick. Frederick has recovered well after that near miss with the barriers, and B Morgan now running in 17th, well off the back of this queue after his spin. What a shame for him that he's dropped so far down the field. Hero Jokin's now past Sean as well. Sean really struggling on those medium compound tyres. Maybe took a little bit too much life out of them at the start, and he turns in a little bit too early there for the corner with Hero Jokin on the inside. So Sean now drops down to 4th place. Hero Jokin's up into 3rd in the AlphaTauri. Can Hero Jokin go for a move on Lighty at the same time as well? Can he get 2 for 1 down towards turn 4? Lighty defends. Hero Jokin's going to try and drive clean around the outside. Can he pull that one off? He can't quite get the momentum, so Hero Jokin stays in 3rd place on the track for the time being. Meanwhile, Simply Superman continues to pull away from these guys, so he is not out of luck on those medium tyres as of yet. He's doing a good job of managing them. He's out all on his own, and while all the other soft runners continue to battle, this only plays into his hands. He probably needs the likes of Jan and Langfeld, Old School and Steph to really start battling so that he can capitalise on them losing pace, and maybe he can close in that way and gain places with a massive overcut. We'll have to wait and see whether he can pull that one off. Wait and see how far he goes on the medium tyres as well. If he can only go to about lap 12 or 13, then that guarantees that neither Stumpy or Jan can make it to the end of the race. Jan is now closing in on Alex as well for that 7th place on the track. Alex and Tekken fighting over 6th place, so that could be a problem for this whole gaggle of cars as well. If they come up to traffic, they're going to all have to work their way through as cleanly as possible, and at the moment it's been a little bit, it's not been messy, but it's been a bit chaotic to say the least. This battle that everyone is fighting, this battle for the race win at the moment, it seems. At the moment, with Stumpy and Jan pitting, person who's in the net race lead is Langfeld, from 6th on the grid up into a net race lead after that brilliant start. He's really thrown himself into contention. Sean's into the pit lane off those medium tyres. He was only able to do 11 laps on them before they really fell off the edge of the cliff, and he's into the pit lane in the Red Bull. So let's see where he comes out. Langfeld absolutely no ERS at all, so he can't attack Jan in front, and Jan's not pulled away from the queue of cars either on those medium compound tyres, so it's not quite working for him at the moment. Then it's Lighty and Hero Jokin once again side by side through turn 4. This time Hero Jokin's got his nose alongside, but again Lighty with a better run down towards turn 6 and 7 gets his car ahead, but these two continue to fight. And these two now on this alternate strategy really holding each other up at this point. They really need to be working together to make this strategy work, and at the moment it's not going to work for them. Sean's come out of the pit lane, but look at how far back Sean is. Sean 11.5 seconds off B Morgan, who's stunned, so they are well down the field. And at the moment, that I believe that would mean that Simply Superman will come up behind B Morgan as well by about 3 or 4 seconds, which is quite a big way if you think about it. That is a lot of time for Simply Superman to gain. He's going to be hoping that the hard compound tyres for all those that pitted earlier really fall off the cliff, as Jan's now on the back of Alex for 6th on the road, but I imagine Alex might be coming in the next couple laps or so Jan may not have to make this move stick just yet. We'll wait and see. Meanwhile, B Morgan has overtaken his teammate. I think Harry Nawag let his teammate through there, so Harry Nawag dropped back down to 16th and hasn't pitted yet, so Harry Nawag's race really has not gone his way. B Morgan back up to 15th after that spin. We come then onto lap 13 of this race. Simply Superman stays out. Does Alex come into the pit lane? I think Old School was looking down the inside of the last corner there for a move. Alex doesn't come into the pit lane, so he stays out for another lap. He won't have DRS though, as Jan's going to breeze past him in a straight line. Can Langfeld do the same? Langfeld's going to try and go for the pair of them maybe. He breezes past Alex as well, but he can't get Jan. He's down the inside. Where's Old School and all this? Old School has a little look down the inside, but there's not enough room, so he's going to have to wait maybe to turn 4 to get the move done. Can he get the run on the Ferrari man down this straight? He'll have a look maybe to the inside. Is he close enough to make the move? He's late on the brakes, but he's not close enough. Old School might get a little bit stuck here behind Alex if he can't make the move stick, and he's going to lose touch now with Jan and Langfeld. He's already dropping nearly out of DRS range to the racing point, so he's got to get this move done as quickly as possible. Gets caught on that curb though coming out of turn 7. Can't go for a dive at 8. He's got a lot more grip, but just nowhere to use it, as Nolan dives down the inside of Kiki down towards turn 8, so he's going to go for a move. He'll have the outside line for turn 9 and 10. That will turn to the inside for Kiki, but Kiki, look how late on the brakes that is. That's far too late from Kiki and Nolan as well, both trying to outbrake each other, and they're now crashing into each other in a straight line. Both of them just battling too hard. They both brake too late. Nolan runs into the back of his teammate, and Kiki completely misses the corner and ends up hitting Steph. So both Haas cars now with front wing damage. I think, actually no, I think Steph's gotten away with it. It's definitely the Williams maybe that got front wing damage. I know that Nolan has definitely got damage in that one, but that is a shame for Nolan. On for his best result in Division 3. Contact now with the back of his teammate and contact with Kiki after both drivers really trying to outbrake each other. They both were too ambitious, and it's cost them massively. Simply Superman into the pit lane to put us out of the hard compound tyres on by the looks of things, but that's taken both Kiki and Nolan really out of the running for a podium at this point in the race. Alex into the pit lane as well. Where does Simply Superman come out? So he's put those hard compound tyres on. There will be at least 5 laps fresher than everyone around him. Nolan's been taken out of the battle here because of that contact, so that's one less person he has to pass. He's actually going to come out just ahead of B Morgan, so he'll be just ahead of the Renault man, and he's only 4 seconds behind Isotopic, so not too much to catch. Isotopic has closed back in on that queue of cars in front after all that carnage. Kiki trying to work his way past Steph here, trying to get round the outside, but he can't get the move done. They're now 3 seconds off the back of Old School after all that carnage that just happened. That now means that Old School and Langfeld really have a lot of breathing room to these drivers behind. So Steph and Kiki really battling for 3rd place on the track. Frederick will be running in a net P5. Isotopic now up to a net P6 after all that, so that's a good recovery for him, but Simply Superman on the fresher hards will be much faster towards the end of the race. Let's see what he can do, and can he drag B Morgan with him towards the end of the race. Back to the front of the field though, Lighty and Hero Jokin now the 2 net race leaders. Stumpy though has now caught these guys on track, so Stumpy really fighting, but the problem for Stumpy here is if he can't take those medium tyres at the end of the race, he's now basically on the same strategy as both of these guys, and these guys at the moment when they come into the pit lane might come out behind Sean, which is a long way back in this queue of cars. Sean currently down in 15th place and 9 seconds, well 11 seconds off the next car in front of him that he's feasibly fighting on track, because Harry Nawag's not pitted yet. B Morgan has, as now into the pits comes Lighty. That's a very early pit stop from Lighty from lap 14 on those hard compound tyres, and here comes Stumpy round the outside of Hero Jokin. Hero Jokin is going to try and defend the move actually, but Stumpy's going to just drive on those fresher tyres. He's just going to drive clean around the outside, and oh, nearly loses the car. Stumpy completely loses the car through turns 2 there, holds onto it, keeps it out of the gravel, but a crucial mistake for Stumpy's race. He's now dropped back behind Hero Jokin and has to make that move again. Langfeld meanwhile side by side with Tekken, who still hasn't hasn't pitted yet either. They're going 3 wide into turn 4. Old School trying to capitalise down the inside. They just about get away with it. Langfell's going to get the move done. Old School trying to get the move done on Tekken as well, down towards turn 6. He does get the move done, so this time around Old School is able to follow Langfell through. Langfell and Old School pass Tekken very forcefully, but they make the move stick, and they're now up into 4th and 5th. They still follow Jan, who is probably yet to make another pit stop. Those medium tyres won't get to the end of the race. So this two-stop strategy from Stumpy and Jan really isn't working at the moment. They just don't have the outright speed to pull this one off. And when they do pit, they're going to come in right at the back. But as I say that, Harry Nawag has spun out of turn 2 and coming through turns 3. And we now have a full safety car. So this completely changes things. And look who has benefited massively from this. And that is Hero Joking. Hero Joking on those hard compound tyres has not pitted yet. He can come in and put a set of the medium compound tyres on, probably easily take those medium tyres to the end of the race, and from 20th on the grid has thrown himself right in the mix here, especially if a lot of people behind him come into the pit lane. I'm sure his AlphaTauri teammate will come into the pits. I'm sure Lighty is ruining the fact that he came in on the end of lap 14 because a safety car came out a lap later. Hero Joking and Stumpy then both into the pit lane, so let's see where they come out. Who else comes into the pits? I imagine Jan will come into the pit lane. Yes, he does. Langfell's going to come into the pit lane. Old School's going to come in. Tekken comes in as well. Kiki's in. Steph's in. Frederick's in. Isotopic is in. He's going to get held up behind his Racing Point teammate. Everyone's in the pit lane. Simply Superman is not. Simply Superman obviously only pitted a couple laps ago for those hard compound tyres, and he's now in the race lead. This race is completely flipped on its head after that safety car. This has massively saved Stumpy's race, and it's really affected a lot of other people. So this is going to be an interesting fight to the end of this one. The order now, which it looked like a fight between Langfell and Old School for the race victory today, it's now simply Superman that leads on hard compound tyres, but everyone behind him is on the mediums. Tekken for some reason has ended up on the intermediate tyres, so he's going to have to come in for a new set of tyres. I'm not quite sure how he's ended up putting those tyres on around Bahrain of all places. But Zippy Superman now leads some Hero Joking on the medium tyres, who started this race in 20th place. Stumpy's in 3rd after making his 2nd pit stop, and Lighty on a fresh set of medium tyres is now 4th. Old School's 5th. Jan is 6th. Langfell down to 7th, so Old School's jumped both Jan and Langfell in the pit stops. Steph in 8th, Tekken in 9th, but he has to pit again and put a dry set of tyres on, so Frederick will be up into 9th. Kiki will be 10th. B. Morgan, this has somewhat saved his race. This has saved the likes of Nolan, Sean Flores and Alex's races as well, but this has completely flipped this race on its head. So have to wait and see then how this safety car is going to change things. Who do you think is the one to look out for here? Can Simply Superman now, apart from Flores, Simply Superman is now the only person on the track on this set of hard compound tyres. So I wonder whether Simply Superman might struggle a little bit to hold on against those medium compound tyres behind. We'll have to wait and see whether, as well, the medium tyres can take it to the end of the race. They should be able to, but they might reach the end of their life right at the end of the race, and that is where Simply Superman will have the advantage. Does Simply Superman have the pace on those hard tyres to pull away? Does Hero Joking have the pace on those medium tyres to battle Simply Superman? Or is he going to get swallowed up by the thing? Stumpy, lifesaver, this safety car restart. I think this is probably what he was hoping for after realising that maybe the strategy wasn't going to work. He was probably hoping for a safety car like this to bring him back into it. And you know what? It's played beautifully into his hands. He's now back right at the front of the field, having negated the need for another pit stop. Everyone else is coming for a second time as well, so that means that the disadvantage he had is now gone, so he's now into 3rd again. Brilliant stuff from Stumpy. I will say he's had great pace, so this is a little bit lucky from Stumpy, but at the end of the day, you have to really make your own luck in these kind of races, and you have to be in the right positions at the right time to capitalise on them, and he's definitely capitalised on it. So we'll wait and see if he can pull that off. Tekken's now going to drop from 9th to plumb last with that change back onto drier tyres on those mediums. What a shame for him. He could have been inside the top 10 as well, but that doesn't look like that's not going to happen now after that change onto intermediate tyres. So I'll have to wait and see what they can do. It does look like if Tekken as well can close into the back of the safety car queue, we will get racing on this lap. I'm going to give myself about a 10-second break just to give myself a drink. I've been talking for about 50 minutes straight, it feels like. So give me about 10 seconds and I'll be back just after my quick drink. Brilliant stuff then. Just had my quick refreshment. That's refreshed my voice for the rest of this race, and I think I'm going to need it because these what should be final 12 laps of this race could be incredibly interesting if it does play out that way. Everyone now really on a level playing field, apart from unfortunately Flores in 15th. and Simply Superman in the race lead, so he has had a real disadvantage on these hard compound tyres, but fair enough to him. If he came into the pit lane, he would have been held up behind Stumpy's car in the pit lane and maybe passed by a few people in the pit stop. Come out, I think, probably down in 13th place, so it's better to get the track position and just maybe hold on. His tyres are still fresh, so they're not going to die towards the end of the race. So it's worth the gamble really for Simply Superman. And Hero Jokin qualified 20th and has been battling Lighty all day. Not to say that he doesn't have good speed, because both of them do, but they've not been the fastest here tonight. So maybe Hero Jokin might struggle a little bit to get past Simply Superman. But Simply Superman then, he now is going to lead the field to green. Safety car is in at the end of this lap. When does Simply Superman decide to go? He's actually keeping the speed quite high, so he's trying to space everyone out, I think. Trying to space them out so that no one is close enough. And look at that, a very wide line through the final corner. Simply Superman still waiting though, he's not gone as of yet. He's going to wait probably until the very last moment. Very Tuscan Grand Prix-esque. And he goes now, so he goes right before the start-finish line. Hero Jokin didn't quite expect it. Everyone in the background is all over the shot, reacting to that restart. Jan looks like he's had a brilliant restart. He's down the inside of Old School towards turn 1, trying to reclaim that place on the Williams man. Old School really late on the brakes on the outside, but Jan, I think, might get that move done. He's going to get stuck as well behind Stumpy. Stumpy's been caught out by Lighty. So Lighty's had a brilliant safety car restart, and he's passed Stumpy. And now Jan has passed Stumpy because of it as well. They're 3 wide. Old School darts to the inside line to try and get the 3 wide move done. He's done that once already in this race. It didn't quite work out for him. Langfell's there to attack as well. Stumpy has dropped like a stone at the safety car restart for what could have been a potential race victory. He's now down to 8th as still Jan and Old School run side by side, and now Langfell's trying to make it 3 wide down the inside. There's not a lot of room there. Quite give him a lot of room, but Jan didn't give Old School a lot of room to make that 3 wide work, and now Jan still down the inside for turns 9 and 10. Then there's more contact. He slides down into the braking zone. Old School runs wide. Langfell's going to capitalise. Old School somehow holds on to 4th place. Langfell's up into 5th. Jan drops down to 6th. What a terrible restart though from Stumpy, from 3rd down to 8th place. Here comes Steph now down the inside of Jan. Can he pull that move off? Yes, he can. So Jan, that contact with Old School costing him massively, now down to 7th place. It's all changed at the restart there. Stumpy from a potential race victory or potential podium down to 8th, and oh, look at that, Frederick's just run clean into the back of him in the braking zone for turn 13. So Frederick's picked up some front wing damage. That is going to massively cost him towards the end of this race, but we come to the end of lap 18, the first lap after the safety car restart. Simply Superman leads, but Hero Jokin's only 4/10 of a second back. Lighty in 3rd is only 5/10 of a second back from that as well. Old School a little bit further behind. He derated by the end of the lap. He used so much ERS to try and make those moves stick. They're 3 wide in the background once again. That's Kiki trying to get a move done on Frederick down towards turn 1. B. Morgan waiting in the wings as well to try and make the move stick. Isotopic's lost places at the restart behind Sean at the restart as well. He's lost another place, so let's wait and see whether he can regain that one back. Frederick with that front wing damage really holding people up. Nolan now trying to get a move done, and B. Morgan down towards turn 4. Frederick and Kiki all over the road coming towards turn 4, but still no move done. But Frederick runs a little bit deep with that front wing damage, and look, Kiki is going to get the move down the inside. Can he get the car down the inside line for turn 5? He's on the curb. They might touch wheels here. They do bang wheels. They get away with it though. They're still 2 by 2 by 2 coming down towards the corner. B. Inside, he's got Ed Nolan on the outside line. Sean and Isotopics right side in the background as well. Nolan again going for that move at turn 9 and 10. It did work the last time around. He comes down the inside of Frederick as well. There's a little bit of contact, but he gets away with it this time. Someone picked up front wing damage in the background. I didn't quite see who that was. That might have been Sean, or it might have been Alex. I didn't quite see. But B. Morgan and Nolan again still going side by side. Nolan's going to have the inside line for turn 11 though. He will get that move done on the Renault man, so Nolan up into 11th place now. Kiki up into 9th after Frederick had picked up that damage and is losing places like a stone at the moment. What a restart that has been. Absolute chaos. The order's changed massively. Stumpy's got back ahead of Jan now, so he's trying to work his way back through after that poor restart. But what a shame from him. Steph has picked up a time penalty, so it's our first really of our top runners to pick up a penalty in this race. But look at this, Hero Jokin now only a 10th behind Simply Superman as they cross the line. Langfeld with the fastest lap of the race, closing in on Old School as well. But here goes Hero Jokin on those medium tyres to the inside line of Simply Superman towards turn 1. And from 20, oh look at Lighty as well from nowhere, trying to send it down the inside of Simply Superman as well, but there wasn't enough room. He couldn't pull the move off, and now he's got Old School directly behind him as well, trying to challenge. Simply Superman trying to come back at Hero Jokin, but doesn't have DRS. Nolan picks up a penalty as well. Isotopic and B. Morgan both into the pit lane, so they've obviously come into contact somewhere further around the lap, unfortunately. So their races go from bad to worse, unfortunately. They're now down to 16th and 17th place and well off these Courier cars. But Hero Jokin from 20th on the grid now leads the race with an audacious strategy and a safety car that plays beautifully into his hands. He now leads the race. Can he pull away from Simply Superman? Can Simply Superman on those hard tyres hold on and maybe capitalise on the medium tyres falling off towards the end of the race? Lighty though in that Ferrari is looking incredibly fast, trying to work his way through as well. Lighty and Hero Jokin have been inseparable pretty much all race long, and it looks to continue that way. Frederick's run off the road by the looks of things in the background. That's allowed Alex and Tekken through up into 12th and 13th. Frederick continues to drop from what could have been a top 10 as Lighty all over the road there at turn 12. Just about holds onto the car, but Old School's now going to have a run on him down towards the penultimate corner, but he decides against going for the move. And Lighty uses a little bit of ERS as well to pull away. Old School doesn't have a lot of ERS once again to use in his attack, so he's going to have to hope for another mistake like that from Lighty to really go for a move. Langfeld waiting in the wings, ready to attack as well, as is Steph and Stumpy just behind. Kiki now closing in on the as well for that 8th place. Nolan rounds off the top 10, but Sean directly behind him. Kiki with the fastest lap of the race as well. Simply Superman trying to come back down towards turn 1. Lighty trying to capitalise on Simply Superman, breaking a little bit early once again. It goes down the inside, but there's not enough room, and here comes Old School with a much better run this time round through turns 3 and 4. He'll have the outside line. Can he go for the move? He hasn't got any ERS though in attack, and once again Old School with that lack of ERS doesn't have the straight line speed. And look at Langfeld trying to capitalise, but he can't get the move done. He's not going to be able to work his way up into 4th place either, so they stay in the same order, but great battling between these guys. Meanwhile in the background, Stumpy's got back past Steph now, so Stumpy continuing to work his way forwards, and Langfeld makes a little bit of a mistake there as well, so Stumpy trying to capitalise again. Old School with another good run out of a corner, but can't get the move done down towards turn 9 and 10. It's not an overtaking spot, so he can't get that move done. He stays in 4th place, but he's looking incredibly racy as Simply Superman on those hard tyres continues to lose pace, just doesn't have the grip of the drivers around him. Maybe trying to save them for the end, well, who have a little bit more of an advantage on those hard tyres. Have to wait and see. Everyone down to 7th place at the moment, all within DRS range of each other. Kiki, I think, has made a little bit of a mistake because Nolan and Sean are both directly on the back of him. Sean, much improved pace this time round from Division 3 last season, showing some good improvements, only running in 11th, battling for 9th with Nolan and Kiki, who look like great drivers, and Nolan has a massive slide and Sean has to go off the track to avoid it. Frederick's been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. Nolan sliding all over the road. Alex and Sean had to take avoiding action, and Alex has picked up a time penalty because of it. I wonder whether Alex might get that one removed. He's actually had an illegal overtake on Nolan as well, so he's had to let Nolan back through, unfortunately. He might argue that one afterwards with the stewards, but that puts Sean now into the top 10. So let's see if he can continue to fight his way back forwards in this one. Meanwhile, Alex has a look back down the inside of Nolan towards turn 1. He's very late on the brakes. He forces Nolan out wide. Nolan's on the curb, and there's no room for the inside of turn 2, so Nolan forced out wide. Can't get the move done, so Nolan drops down into 12th place. We go back to the leaders. No change down into turn 1. They stay as they were. Hero Jokin still leads, but he's got a comfortable enough gap. Morgan sets the fastest up of the race, immediately beaten by Isotopic in 16th place, so that's at least the silver lining for them, that they could try and challenge for that fastest lap, gain some points back in that sort of way. But Hero Jokin continuing to lead this race. He's nearly broken that DRS range. In fact, he might have done so. I think actually no, Simply Superman's just kept it coming through turn 9 and 10, but Hero Jokin's right on the cusp of breaking that DRS range, and if he can, Simply Superman has no ERS in his back pocket really to use to try and close back in, so that's Hero Jokin's top priority now, is to break DRS to Simply Superman behind. Can he do it? Maybe out of turn 13 and down towards turn 14. Let's wait and see what kind of run he gets out of the corner. It looks very similar for both drivers. Again, Old School with a brilliant run through turn 13, but this is not really an overtaking spot because the DRS straight is after the next corner. Hero Jokin doesn't break DRS range to Simply Superman. Simply Superman holds on to it, stays in second place for the time being, and will have DRS so that he can use that in his defence against Lighty. But at the moment, I wonder if it's just futile, because Lighty, Old School, Langfeld and Stumpy and Steph really as well all look faster than Simply Superman on those medium tyres. They continue to weave, and Lighty again with another dive at turn 1, but this time around he's not up the inside, so he's not forced onto the curb. It might mean he gets a better run through turns 2 and 3. Can he get to the inside for turn 4 maybe? But again, Simply Superman has DRS to defend against the Ferrari man, and Lighty just doesn't have the straight line speed to pull that move off. But still, Lighty doing a very good job. If he holds on to this, this will be easily his best finish in TTML. If he can hold on to 3rd place, that'd be great stuff to see him on the podium as well, after all the troubles he experienced last season. Tekken and Nolan going side by side at turn 4. Nolan just holding on to 12th, but he continues to fall after that contact earlier on. It's Flores running in 14th. He's the last of the people really at the back of this queue, and then B Morgan and Isotopic have dropped well off the back after their 3rd pit stops in this race, unfortunately. We go on to lap 23. Hero Joker continues to lead. He looks very good in that middle sector, but it's still not enough to pull that 1 second gap that he needs. And Simply Superman is keeping within DRS range. He was doing just enough to hold on to second with this audacious strategy. He is, at the moment, I think the only person other than Vlor is still on a one-stop in this race. That's incredible to believe. If he can try and pull that one off, as Kiki now picks up a time penalty, currently running in 9th place, so that's another person at the front of the field who's going to lose out to penalties. He at the moment will drop behind Sean, but Sean is losing pace, unfortunately, to Kiki, but Kiki now closing in on this queue of cars in front. That will cause him to lose time as well. Steph is going to lose out to Jan on penalties at this point in the race as well. We come down towards turn 1, but this time round Lighty with a much better run towards turn 1. He's gone to the outside line. Can he switch to the inside? He's got absolutely no ERS at all, running at 0%, but he's much later on the brakes, and this time round Lighty gets the move done, but spins on the traction coming out of turn 1. What a shame for Lighty. He had the move done, but he drops the car coming out of the corner just too early on the power, trying to defend maybe towards turn 4, and he's dropped down to 9th place. What a shame for the Ferrari man. Maybe he can close in on people and gain on penalties, but from what could have been the front of the field, it's all falling apart. But that now means that more people move up the field. There's more contact. Old School side by side with Superman. Langfell slides completely off the road from what could have been a win for Langfell. He's now slid completely off the road. Old School's picked up damage. Old School, I think, who has he run into? He's run into Stumpy. Stumpy facing the wrong way coming out of turn 8. I wonder if Stumpy maybe spun on his own or got help from Old School, but Stumpy facing the wrong way. Old School with front wing damage, and now TNR Steph is in 3rd place. Jan is in 4th, but Steph has a penalty, so Jan's going to get 3rd in this race all of a sudden. Old School with front wing damage. Lighty's back down his inside. There's more wheel banging, but Lighty, after spinning at the start of the lap, has worked his way back up another 4 places in the space of about 10 corners, and is back up into 5th place. This race is completely blown up. Hero Joking continues to lead, but after all that craziness, Simply Superman, in all that craziness, all that battling, has now lost DRS range to Jokin, and is 3 seconds behind. So Jokin, from 20th on the grid, could win the first race of the season. What a race this has been so far. We've still got 5 laps to go. It's not over yet. Jan's trying to go for a move on Steph on track, so he doesn't have to rely on penalties. Maybe he can take 2nd place from this race. What a result for him that would be, as he goes down the inside and Steph decides not to fight against it. He knows that he has a penalty, he doesn't go for it. The 2 Williams drivers now side by side. Old School now trying to get ahead of Kiki. He stays ahead of Kiki, but I wonder if he can let his Williams teammate through so that Kiki can have a run at the drivers in front of him. We'll have to wait and see. Kiki trying to work his way around the outside, nearly runs into the back of his teammate, doesn't pull it off. Meanwhile, Sean's now running in 8th place in all of that chaos. Alex is now 9th, but he's side by side with Nolan. Nolan trying to go fully around the outside. He's forced off the track, but gets a 3-second time penalty, and I wonder if that might be an illegal overtake on his side as well, so he might have to give that place back to Alex. We'll have to wait and see. They're continuing to battle. Meanwhile, behind them, Tekken's 11th. Langfell managed to keep it out of wall. He's running in 12th. Stumpy as well. He hit the wall, but he didn't pick up any damage. He's now 13th. What a shame for Stumpy. This safety car restart for him could have been a win for him, but he's dropped him right to the back of the field now. What a shame for Stumpy in a great first outing in Division 3. Old School again as well. Well, it could have been a win for him. It's all fallen by the wayside with really, really hard battling, just unfortunately coming off worse than all of that. And now he's wide again. Can Kiki try and get a move done maybe at turn 13? He's going to look to the inside of his teammate. Does he go for the move? He stays a little bit further back. He's maybe waiting for the pit straight. Old School will not have DRS on Lighty in front, so he's not going to use that in his defence. And Sean has now caught the pair of them, and Sean could take a 6th place finish here if he passes Old School and keeps it without penalties. But as I say that, Sean runs too far off the road on the entry to turn 14, and he now picks up a penalty. Both of them on track if he wants to secure a 6th place finish in the first round of the season. Here comes Kiki then on his teammate. Overtake on, DRS open down the inside towards turn 1. He's going to get the move done on his teammate this time round. Old School just powerless to defend against it with the damage he has. Drops now down into 7th place. What could have been a win as well for Old School has dropped it down. Lighty now with the time penalty, so he can't capitalise on Steph's penalty in this race. So Steph is going to hold on to P4 after all the craziness he's experienced in this race, being run into at turn 10 by both his teammate and Kiki. Is now somehow in 4th place in all of this, and they both caught Simply Superman. So if either of these two in front pick a penalty, it's game on for 2nd in this race. Simply Superman on those hard tyres, they've swung his way yet. He's still struggling on those hard tyres, but I tell you what, he'll be much happier being in 2nd place than going for the medium tyres and dropping to 13th and maybe being involved in all that carnage behind him. He somehow escaped it unscathed, but Jan now trying to get 2nd place on the road. He's got much more pace. Can he get down the inside? No, he can't. He's not quite able to get the move done at turn 11, so maybe he'll wait for the next straight, as Old School and Sean now run side by side, as Old School now picks up a penalty. So that means him and Sean are now neck and neck on penalties themselves as well, and Sean will have the inside line for turn 12. Old School will just understeer out wide, but Sean hits the curb. What a shame for Sean. He hits the curb on the inside of the corner and has car coming out of turn 12. What could have been a top 10 finish for Sean. He's picked up damage as well, drops to 13th. He'll be absolutely gutted with that. What a shame for Sean. Could have been his best result in Division 3, but it's fallen by the wayside again. Another person looking for a great result. It hasn't worked. Meanwhile, Jan, 3 laps to go. Jan cruises past Simply Superman in the straight line, and Jan now up into second place. So can he maybe close down on Hero Joking, get within penalty range in case Hero Joking does pick up a penalty? We'll have to wait and see. I don't actually know if Hero Joking does have one yet. He might have picked one up earlier on in the race. We'll have to wait and see. It's still not over as of yet. Meanwhile, in the background, Kiki has caught Lighty incredibly quickly, and he's going for a move down the outside, sorry, for turn 4. Can't quite get the move done. He does the switchback maybe on the exit, but he doesn't have the straight line speed or the traction coming out the corner to pull the move off. So he stays in 6th, and he has a penalty as well, so he's got to pass Lighty on track to keep this one in the bag. He'll be safe over Old School, and a Langfell at the moment he'll be safe over because Langfell's too far back to capitalise on it. Langfell, they'll closing in on Old School, so he should be able to capitalise on Old School's penalty if Langfell doesn't get one himself as well. What a crazy first round of the season this has been. This is why we love to see 20 drivers in the field, because so many variables are involved in this race and so many people can win. Hero Joking could win this race from 20th on the grid. What a performance that would have been, and I tell you what, his qualifying strategy of starting last might have actually played beautifully into his hands. But Jan is absolutely flying. He's taken 6/10 of a second at least out of Hero Joking on this lap alone. It won't be enough to close in to the back of him by the end of the race, but if Joking does pick up a penalty, which is very easy to do and a lot of people have done already, then Jan is right within striking distance of the AlphaTauri. He takes, I think, nearly about 8/10 of a second out of Joking in one lap. Take 8/10 of a second out of him on this lap. The gap will be down to about 1.6. He could be within DRS range on the final lap, and he's dragging Simply Superman and Steph with him. So have to keep an eye on that. Can Jan continue with this pace and continue to close in on the AlphaTauri man? The AlphaTauri man continuing to avoid all the carnage. It's worked out beautifully for him. Tekken, meanwhile, in the other AlphaTauri, he's got front wing damage, but he's avoided a lot of the carnage as well. Apart from the damage he's got, he's avoided a lot of the people making mistakes. He's now into the top 10. Lighty and Kiki side by side again at turn 4, and again Lighty holds on to the place. So a great defensive drive from Lighty, but he will be gutted that he had that spin. Without that spin, he could have easily had second place in this race. What a shame for him that he's now down. But I say it's what a shame. He's still in 5th place, which is still his best result in Division 3. So good on him for doing that, but I think he would have been hoping for a podium today, but there's more to come for him this season. It looks like Lighty could be a real contender in this one for some a good result at the end of the championship. We continue on then on the penultimate lap of the race. Jan not closing in as much this time round. It's only 2/10 so far this lap. So Joking doing just enough to hold on, and he's got some ERS in his back pocket if he wants to use it on the final lap as well. Let's see what Jan can do as well. Jan doesn't have a lot of ERS, and Simply Superman is right on his tail. So I tell you what, Simply Superman could still retake that second place on track at the moment. He's right tucked underneath that Mercedes. He could go for a move at turn 1 and steal second place back in this race. It will still be a podium for Simply Superman, but it'd be even better if he can get further up ahead of Jan. These two look like they could be close for battling in this championship. They look very evenly matched. And here comes Simply Superman then for a move at Jan down towards turn 1. He has no ERS, but Jan is not using his ERS in defence either. He doesn't have any himself. So Simply Superman's going to work his way back through. Finally, the hard tyres have come into his favour. And on the final lap, he'll work his way back up into second place. He squeezes Jan onto the curb. Jan has to back out of it. Steph nearly runs clean into the back of him. They get away with it though. Steph trying to go for a move round the outside of Jan at turn 4. Is he going to try and pull that move off? He is, but Jan's going to force him out wide, I think. Steph runs a little bit wide and picks up another penalty, which could drop him behind Lighty and Kiki if they stay close enough, but they're now side by side, and Kiki's going to drive clean around the outside of Lighty, but Lighty gets on the curb and understeers, and on the final lap, Lighty, desperate to hold on to that 5th place, hits the side of the Williams and drops the car, so he will continue to drop places. What a shame again for Lighty. Looking like a good result, and now Tekken and Stumpy both trying to get past. Lighty runs to the back of Tekken, Stumpy runs into the side of him. It's chaos in this final lap as again Lighty spins out of a top 5 place. That puts Kiki up into 5th place. Langfeld will jump up into 6th. Nolan all of a sudden is now running in 7th place. Where on earth has he come from? But we now come to the end of this race. What a chaotic race it has been. Commentating this solo has been wearing my throat out. This has been an incredible race, but I've never seen this before in league racing. It's been a chaotic race, passes here, there and everywhere. Safety car has really blown this race wide open, and from 20th on the grid, Hero Joking is going to win the first round of the championship. Simply Superman from 11th on the grid will be 2nd, and Jan holds on to that final podium spot. Kiki does jump ahead of Steph with that final penalty that Steph picked up on that last lap. Kiki gets 4th ahead of Steph. Steph in 5th. Langfell will take 6th place. Old School will take 7th. Stumpy, with all the chaos that happened to Stumpy in that race, he didn't manage to pick up a penalty and gets 8th. Tekken 9th. Lighty will finish inside the top 10, but it could have been a podium for him today. 2 crucial errors. He's just ahead of his Ferrari teammate Alex in 11th. Nolan 12th. Flores 13th. B Morgan 14th, and B Morgan, with all that chaos, B Morgan nearly caught back up to the queue of cars. There was so much chaos in front of him that he nearly caught back up to all of them. Isotopic will be 15th. Sean with the fastest lap, he will cross the line in 16th place, what could have been for him as well. But my word, that is a crazy race. One of the craziest races I've ever commentated on. And again, Hero Jokin, what a drive from him. Like I said, you make your own luck, and he did luck into that safety car, but Lighty was in the same position, and Lighty pitted very early for those medium tyres, and it didn't play into his hands. Hero Jokin stayed out, waited for the safety car, and when the safety car came in, he passed Simply Superman and didn't look back. He held on to the lead, he didn't bottle under pressure, he kept out of all the carnage, kept it clean. What a drive from Hero Jokin. Fully deserved race victory, and obviously fully deserved driver of the day as well. I said he could only go up from the start of that race, from the back of the field on the hard tyres. I tell you what, I did not expect him to win that race. But here you go then, here's the final order then after the first round of the season. Hero Jokin wins from Simply Superman and Jan. What a podium that is. I was expecting it really to be kind of a boring race, and I was maybe expecting it to be Old School, Langfell and maybe Stumpy on the podium, but none of them really in the end came close to getting on the podium. Kiki gets 4th after a penalty as well. He somehow manages 4th after a chaotic race for him. Steph with 2 penalties, finished 4th on the road but drops to 5th. Langfell in 6th. Langfell, bear in mind, 5 laps from the end of the race, spun completely off the road in that massive carnage that was happening with the likes of Old School and Stumpy and Lighty and Simply Superman as well, and somehow managed to recover to 6th place. Great recovery from him. Old School 7th, he'll be gutted to miss out on yet another race victory. Stumpy in 8th, he's also gutted to miss out on a victory for himself. Tekken 9th, good recovery for him. Lighty in 10th as well, what could have been for him 2 spins late in the race, costing him a podium and a chance of victory as well. Alex in the 2nd, Ferrari 11th. Nolan 12th, Flores 13th. B Morgan 14th. Well, a shame for him that he spun earlier on after contact with Langfell. He could have been right in the thick of the battle for the win. Isotopic as well, just not showing the pace today, and also having contact as well late in the race. Sean the last finisher. Frederick, Harry Nawag, David and Captain Chubbs, your 4 people who did not finish the race. Frederick notably probably the one to look out for. He's very fast, but unfortunately his race did not go his way today, and that is a shame for him. He picked up damage towards the end of the race after that safety car restart as well, which caused him to plummet down the field, and he got disqualified actually. I think he just retired from the race in the end after that one at the end of the pit lane, which is a shame for him, but look out for him for the rest of the season. What a race that was. I hope everyone that is watching thoroughly enjoyed that race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was an amazing race to watch. I will remember that race for a long time. I'm sure that these guys are going to continue to show are going to continue to have a really good season, but I doubt that this race is going to be beaten this season. What an opener. Hopefully the rest of the season is like that. Please can we have 20 drivers on the grid every race? More of that please. That was a crazy race. But that is where we're going to end the stream today, guys. Thank you very much everyone for tuning in, keeping me company as well while I've been coming solo. I would say thank you to Conti in the commentary box, but he's not here with me today. But Conti, hopefully he's feeling better this time next week, and he will be back for the 2nd round in China, and hopefully all of you guys watching and driving will be back in China as well. But from myself, it is thank you very much for tuning into this race, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.